Thank you so much for being here today. If you don't know me yet, I'm Me, and I will be your host for today's conference. So before we start, I would like to do some mindful breathing. If I can please get everyone to get into a nice, comfortable position. Spine nice and straight, and just close your eyes. And now just become aware of your breath. Is it shallow or is it expansive? Relax your shoulders, your hands, your entire body. And now I would invite you all to set your intention for this conference, whether you're a speaker or an attendee. Set a beautiful intention for being here today. And now we'll take 3 breaths together. Exhale all the way out and breathe in. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold it there for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold and exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. Now breathe in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Great. And get everyone to open their eyes. I welcome you all into this wonderful space. Thank you so much to each and every one of you for being here today. So to get started, I am going to speak a little bit about what World Women Leading Change is. So World Women Leading Change is a company founded by Dr. Ayla. He's on here. His main focus is to create social impact on humanity by empowering women as educators of the future and nation. The conference is usually held in many parts of the world, but because of this crisis, we are now converted here online. And I feel like that is such a wonderful, wonderful gift. The video conference is to create the world's biggest online conference seminar to raise awareness and build resilience amongst world leaders to lead changes in times of crisis, to create social impact and to share knowledge of wisdom. Every week, we invite an amazing lineup of speakers consisting of entrepreneurs and top leaders in their fields from all over the world to share their expertise and experience. So far, we have reached over 13,000 people, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Ayla. I found this out yesterday, and currently we're only on batch 13, and we have over 20 conferences lined up for the next few months. So it's incredible what Dr. Ayla is doing. I'm going to hand this over to Dr. Ayla to share a little bit, and then I'll take over again.
Thank you, Neely. Thank you. Hello everyone, my name is Ayla. I'm 16 years old, a very young girl from a village. And it's actually a company that I founded with many women, maybe about 30 women. And we are now in Africa, in all parts of the world, Indonesia, Vietnam. And I wanted to have a little surprise. So I want to announce that I'm giving Australia to Neely, and also I want to say thank you for every one of you who come and be a speaker today. We are creating the new world of high conscious, the people who have heart, the people who think more to use their heart than their other things. So enjoy the conference and thank you. And over to you, Neely.
Thank you so much. Okay, I'm gonna spend the next few minutes to share a little about me before we start. So I am currently living in Bali, Indonesia, but originally I am from Australia, Melbourne. About 7 months ago, I decided to quit my job as a radiographer in a community hospital and leave everything that I knew behind. My family, my dear friends who are friends, and to really just create a life that I've always dreamt of. It was by far the hardest decision that I've ever made. It was very uncomfortable, but I knew deep down there was something else for me. I had no idea what that was, and I'm continuing to find out what it is. But right now I'm feeling so grateful to be here hosting this conference for all of you. As my journey went on, I realized, I'm really, really passionate about healing. I'm currently learning and being trained in women's wisdom and shamanism, and I'm working alongside Alex, who is a dear friend, not only just a business partner, and we have a company called LightWorkers where we provide alternative healing modalities and services to people and to retreats. So we're currently consulting as well and treating people on a personal basis. So that's what I'm doing. And Alex is actually the catalyst for how I'm here right now. So he introduced me to Dr. Ayla, I think about 2 months ago. And when I met Dr. Ayla on WhatsApp, she asked me to be a speaker. And I was like, yeah, sure, okay, why not? And then I think a few days before the conference, the lineup of speakers came out, and I was shocked because there was CEOs, like Miss World, and really high status people. And then there was me at the end. I was like, what am I doing here? And I just really trusted that. I'm like, okay, Nee, you've been given this opportunity for a reason. Just do it. And kidding you not, I was so scared. I was sweating and all these things. And last minute, I was like, oh, should I do this? Should I not? And I was like, Nee, 5 minutes of your life. You're never going to get this back. Just do it. And after doing that conference, Dr. Ayla obviously saw something within me, and she asked me to moderate for the next few conferences. And then 2 weeks ago, she asked me to be the host of the Australia edition. And I was like, cool, yep, okay, I'll do it. And then I thought, oh my God, who am I going to invite? I was like, I don't know any celebrities or famous people. So then I was like, okay, I'm a bit lost, so I'm just going to go into deep meditation. So I meditated outside for an hour, and I said, universe, please show me what I need to see. And then within that hour, boom, all these names came up. And those are the names of the top speakers that are here today. And all of these speakers have impacted my life in some sort of way. And I really, really believe in what they embody and, you know, who they show up to be every single day. And, you know, everyone's been saying like, thank you, Nee, for giving me this opportunity. But honestly, I've been reflecting on this, and I feel that I am purely just a channel, a messenger for all of this. You guys have done this on your own because you allowed me to see something within you, and the universe delivered that. So this is why you're all here and we are all here right now. So thank you, and I feel so grateful to have you all here to share and spread your magic. Okay, so that's it for me. And I'm going to get started by introducing the first speaker. So the first speaker is Helen Hurong, and he is from the United Kingdom. I met Callum here when I was in Bali, I think about a year and a half ago, and he is a dear friend. Callum is a passionate change maker, driven to gift as many humans on this planet as possible with the capacity to lead life in purpose and alignment to what truly brings the light behind their eyes and the fire in their belly. Callum has 12 years of coaching experience in both the health and well-being space and leadership consulting, and has allowed him to cure thousands of hours in experience. He is involved in diving deep into the minds of thousands of humans, understanding their core blocks, fears, needs, and how to unblock and overcome and fulfill these fears in order to start living a thriving life. He is one of the youngest NLP master coaches and trainers at the age of 22, and has devoted time in mastering line therapy, hypnotherapy, holistic lifestyle coach, and also motivational maps business coach. So yeah, welcome, Callum.
Hey.
I hope that did you justice.
Yeah, that's cool. Thank you. So, do you want me to start now? Do we go? Do I set my timer? Okay, right.
Go.
1 moment. Let's get this timer app I literally just downloaded. I'm going to press go. Okay. So, I didn't prepare for this. However, I know that I'm absolutely prepared for this. And these were the words that came into my mind probably about 8 weeks ago now. Amidst all the crisis that came for the entire world and the entire globe, when the world got shook by something we'd never seen before, despite the chaos around me, I knew that although I hadn't prepared for this, I was absolutely prepared for it. You see, over the many years now of working with individuals from all over the world, I've been able to have this wonderful time and insight into the minds of many different human beings, but one more so than everybody else, and that would be myself. You see, for a long time, I basically lived a life in the mode of reactivity. I was kind of like a pinball machine. Now I was the ball bouncing off every single wall, and really didn't have a control as to where I'd be going or how I'd respond to that. And so if this happened, let's say 10 years ago, I'd have been the crazy person in the streets saying the world's going to end, right? But not anymore. You see, one of the lines that has really impacted my work and the work of the people I collaborate with is this: your story is either the weight on your shoulders or it is the wings on your back. And what I want everybody here to understand today and really feel into is the power that we always have a choice. We always have a choice. And as simple as that sounds, it's something we really need to let sit with us. Because often the greatest struggles come from the illusion that we don't have a choice in the matter. We don't have a choice in a say in what happens next. We let our story, our past dictate our present and our future. And that's dangerous. Because immediately then we give away our power to be these incredible creators that we truly are and that we are here to be. And so this choice is something that ultimately I've been able to sit with now for a long time and really feel into. And over the years now of working with many different individuals and really exploring leadership, being able to work with many different leaders and understand what it is they do differently. And what is the difference between false leadership and empowered leadership? And I want to make that clear today before I leave and before I end this conversation. For me, it is about trust. It is about authenticity. For me, it is about trusting that you can show up to whatever the challenge may be ahead of you. In fact, to me, it is about understanding that every single tool we require to overcome any obstacle that may meet us on our path is already within us. And I don't say that from a space of fluff or woo-woo, albeit I love the fluff and the woo-woo. I say it from the literal idea that we do have every single tool. And some of those tools I would highlight in four words. And one of them is autonomy. We always have a choice. And I mentioned that earlier. We always have the choice to decide how we will respond rather than react. Another one is authority. Once we decide to take the reins and responsibility in our life as to what we do now, what we do next, we radically change how we move forward in this world. We radically change how we impact the world around us. We radically change the impact of the world within us. The third is authorship, knowing that we can pick up the pen at any moment and write a new chapter, knowing that the story that has happened prior to this does not have to dictate what happens next. We can respond. And finally, authenticity. After the 10 years of experience I have now in stripping back my layers of my own onion, deconditioning and coming home, as they would say in yoga, the biggest takeaway for me has been be me, be myself, take off the masks and allow myself to trust that whatever I have within me and what life has been preparing me for allows me to show up powerfully in each moment to whatever will show up on my path. And I want to finish with this. It's a Walt Whitman poem. And I think it will sit with us all today and really consolidate this conversation. Oh me, oh life, of the questions of these recurring, of the endless trains of the faithless, of cities filled with the foolish, of myself forever reapproaching myself, for who more foolish than I, and for who more faithless, of eyes that vainly crave the light, of the objects mean, of the struggle or ever renewed, of the poor results of all, of the plodding and sordid crowds I see around me, of the empty and useless years of the rest, with the rest me intertwined. The questions, oh me, so sad recurring. What good amid these, oh me, oh life? The answer? That you are here, that life exists, an identity, that the powerful play goes on, and you may contribute a verse. This is true leadership. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Callum.
Pleasure. Thank you, Nee. Always a pleasure.
Thank you so much. That was so deep. I want to introduce Anne, my sister. She'll be moderating today as well. So helping me out. Thank you, Anne.
Hello, everyone. Wow, Callum, that was deep. That was hugely empowering. I also have the privilege of having Callum actually as a coach of mine, so I know all about this and of what he speaks. And one of the things that I love about Callum is that he really has built capacity in the areas where he coaches people. One thing that really resonated with me in terms of what Callum shared is this idea that your story can be the weight on your shoulders, or it could serve as the wings on your back. And he contemplated on the idea of choice and how we all have a choice to either allow our story. We can either own our story or we can be owned by it. This is something that I learned quite intimately from Callum. We can have the choice of owning our story, using it as a gift to serve humanity, or we can be owned by it. We can fall victim of it. And this idea of choice is our birthright. And oftentimes I think humanity in today's time, we've lost touch with this superpower, the idea that we actually have an opportunity to choose every single day how we want to live our life. Are we going to live from a place of disempowerment, or, as Callum suggested, really own that sense of empowerment, because ultimately the tools are already built within us. So thank you, Callum, for that inspiring session.
Thank you, Anne. Thank you, Nee. It's a pleasure.
Thank you, Anne. Thank you, Callum. Okay, so next up we have Lauren Glass, a very, very dear friend. She is from America and she is an apprentice with Conscious Transformation. Lauren holds degrees in psychology, philosophy, and cultural studies. As a student of well-being, Lauren has come to understand that training and application are everything when it comes to personal transformation. Lauren empowers individuals to consciously create the lives they choose through evidence-based practices grounded in Eastern and Western traditions, modern psychology, and epigenetics. She currently has one-on-one practice and leads free book clubs, which I've attended twice. It's amazing. And Lauren also believes that by focusing on our path of growth and awareness, we contribute to the collective global expansion of consciousness. And she supports others in waking to greet each day with wonder, freedom, and empowerment. Thank you, Lauren, for being up so late. I think it's like 3 a.m. for her right now in America. Okay, there you are.
It's a little past my bedtime. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Nee, for the beautiful introduction. I'll go ahead and start my timer. I think in tune with what Anne was sharing, we can always use our stories to empower us in whatever way we choose. And so what I'm really here to touch on today is emotional training and the relevance of that. I think so many of us have been taught to navigate this world through behavioral adjustment and saying like, oh, I should take on this habit instead, or, you know, I should really stop doing this. But what we have been taught to neglect is the emotional frequency that underpins so many of our thoughts and behaviors and things like that. So in connection to kind of steering our past and our history in a way that's favorable to me or to us, one of the most, arguably the most challenging thing that occurred for me was the prompt for me to begin to train my emotional experience. When my dad passed away unexpectedly, I knew tremendous sadness and despair that was very, very different than the frustration and arrogance that I was more used to, right? When I would go into a fear-based place, that's what would occur for me. So being in sadness was so tremendously uncomfortable that I knew I needed to seek something else. And thankfully, over the course of my my openness to new things, what I came to interact with was a way of responding to my emotions that allowed me to retrain it from the root. And one of the ways that I like to communicate about all of this is in connection to this analogy where we've heard this phrase before, probably, that the grass is greener on the other side. Meaning that if we move into some other place or some other experience, then life is going to be good over there. Like once we have the relationship, life is going to be good. Or once we have the new job, right? We're taught to manipulate these pieces on the chessboard of life in terms of the external, and then hope that that gives us a new sense of understanding in here. And while it may have some temporary benefits and we may feel like more joy, we take ourselves with us wherever we go, right? So the question we should be asking ourselves is, why is the grass that we're on now not already green? And my understanding of that is we haven't been trained to tend it, right? And it's impossible to not be trained emotionally in some way, just by virtue of being a human being in the world. So we're raised in certain ways, and all of these things contribute to the emotions we know inside. Like some of us know great access to joy and fulfillment, and others of us know more peace, or even things like annoyance and irritation. So we're all black belts in something. If we've heard about martial arts, black belt is just an indicator of somebody who's very highly trained and very proficient in something, right? So I used to be a black belt in anger, and I am spending much of my time becoming a black belt in freedom. And what we can all do in this moment, I'd love to just take maybe 5 seconds and let everybody name for themselves, what is an emotion that you'd like to know at a deeper level, that you'd love to be a black belt in? And it can be an emotion you already have a connection to. You may choose love, and let's say you already know love, but you have a sense that there's something more. Or it's something you're not really familiar with. Humility lived this way for me. I was like, humility is not a real emotion. And I just had no clue what humility was until I began to train it. So take a moment, name the emotion for yourself, and just acknowledge how important that is to you. And I think many times in our lives, particularly in times of crisis, there's this sense of there's this idea that we have to show up for the situation in a certain way, or the external environment requires something of us. But what I'd like to invite you to consider is that this world and this experience is kind of like one of those classic optical illusions. I don't know how many of you have seen this, but there's a painting that's like black and white, and if you look at it one way, it looks like a bunny rabbit. And if you look at it from another perspective, it looks like a duck. And I'm sure you've seen this in the clouds where you're like, oh, I can see a dragon. And wait, now I can see, some flowers and all of this, right? So what all of this is to say is that all of our beliefs are perspectives on reality, as opposed to reality in and of itself. There's nothing like concrete about your experience of love or your experience of fear. So you, in that way, have so much permission and so much agency to choose how you view the world and how you experience the world. And that can come through emotional training, that can come through just a shift in focus. So at the end of the day, what would you like to see? Like, pick a space in your life and then think about that. Oh, my timer just went off, but I'll close with, think about that emotion that you just named for yourself. How can you shift your focus and attention and begin to bring that emotion actively to that space and environment such that your grass becomes green and it goes with you wherever you go? So much love to everyone. Thank you so much for your presence and sharing your wisdom. I look forward to hearing many of the recordings, as I will probably go to sleep here after this shortly. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lauren. That was so amazing. Thank you.
I have the privilege of also knowing and being mentored by Lauren, and I am quite intimately familiar with the program that she's talking about called Conscious Transformation. And I can personally attest that it is truly one of the most transformational journeys that I have been on, and emotional training is absolutely a highly effective way in manifesting the reality that you desire. And so many learnings and wisdom from Lauren today, but the one thing that I keep going back to is our inner world is our outer world is only a reflection of our inner world. When there is chaos that seemingly feels like, you know, especially right now during the global pandemic, it feels chaotic for some people and it feels quite peaceful for others. What's the difference? And it's the training that we've done on the inside. And, you know, and just the last thing that I'll just share is that Lauren touched up on this really important point that also Callum touched upon, and it's the power of choice. You know, are we going to choose to live from a place of disempowerment and continue to allow the our external reality to dictate how we feel, or are we going to empower ourselves with the tools to be able to transform our lives from the inside so that we can actually live a flourishing existence? Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you both.
Thank you so much, and have a good night's sleep and rest. You deserve it. Okay, so next up, we have my dear friend Andrew Mai, who I've known since I was a teenager. I can't believe we've grown up so much. He is a men's empowerment coach, and he is a breathwork facilitator that is deeply passionate about supporting men in regaining their sense of self-worth. He brings presence, a light-hearted nature, and playful attitude to his work that allows people to safely unfold in their own way. Having faced many challenges through his own life in identifying what it means to be a man, he is driven to connect with and to create communities that allow men to understand and redefine what this means for them. Through the power of connection and rites of passage, he opens safe spaces for men to come into alignment and heal from within. Thank you, Andrew.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me, and yeah, nice to reflect on our journey since our teenage years to where we are now, and being in this container. And yeah, just feel so grateful to be in this space to share part of this journey with everyone here as well. And yeah, so I guess I'm here to speak a little bit about like finding purpose during these really uncertain times in our life. We're in a position where a lot of what we have known or what we've been comfortable with, and
Hold on a second now.
Hello. Yeah, living in a life where, you know, the jobs that we have are ending, the savings and the finances that we have stability in are also diminishing for a lot of people, and we're also isolating a lot from each other. And so this has given us a opportunity within this sort of turmoil and this shift and change that we're experiencing to really reconnect with how we want to show up in life, a moment to pause and have a look at the direction that we're having, that we're moving through, and whether or not this is something that's aligned with our purpose or our desires. You know, it's in these moments as everything outside of us externally is changing that we get a chance to really look internally and see what's there when our sense of identity or our sense of purpose through these different roles that we've been playing throughout life are taken away. And so when we aren't in the work or in the communities and the places to which we can really find this sense of who we are in, what's left in that space. And so it's in these moments where I feel like, in my own personal experience, I've been really blessed with a chance to really get clarity on where I'm moving in my life and what I want to do. And it's been a real blessing to slow down, because it's giving me a chance to find out how I want to show up in this life, and also give meaning to the experiences that I have around me. I've learned that things in life don't happen to us, they happen for us. So when we lose these senses of safety that we're in, what can we find in that space? How can we find a deeper sense of purpose? And it makes me think of a book by Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning. And he talks about his experience, his personal experience in an Auschwitz concentration camp, where he observed that prisoners who found purpose in the face of unimaginable conditions were far more resilient and likely to survive than those who didn't. And as he would say, life is never made unbearable by circumstances, but only by lack of meaning and purpose. And I feel like that's like a really important thing for us to find right now. Finding purpose is a really fundamental requirement for human health and well-being. It may not cure the circumstances that are currently going on a global scale, but it may help mitigate some of the effects and enable us to recover a little bit more. And so some things that I found that have been really helpful during this process is for us to really have an opportunity to reflect on our life. Have we been ignoring what we really want to do, or how we want to spend our life? Actually asking ourselves, what do you really want in life? What do you really care about doing in this life more than anything else? And really giving a chance for you to be honest with yourself. And would this make you happy? This is something that we often forget to ask ourselves. We're so busy living our lives for other people, or working a job that is creating this idea of safety, but is having this disconnect with our purpose and our alignment. And so what would make you feel totally satisfied in life? Even if it means, like in these situation of leaving this job and this security and this idea of work and this story that we've been told that's going to give us happiness, or do we pursue something that's different, pursue a path that may not be clear but is in line with our heart, so that we can find a greater sense of meaning? And through that, we get an opportunity to also find this intersection in purpose, where it's this intersection behind what we're really good at, like what talents we have, and what the world needs. It's an opportunity for us to find contribution to the world and to the people around us, and also takes us out of the way. We sometimes get caught up with our experiences, like, what do I need? What do I have to do? This and that. And that can sometimes cloud us from actually pursuing a path that is more aligned with our hearts and our direction and what we want to do as well. And, this gives us a really beautiful opportunity to also listen to our gut, listen to our instincts. Finding our purpose is about listening to what our gut instinct has been telling us all along. Many people that I've spoken to have spent a lot of time, many decades, working in the industry that they're not even passionate about, while always knowing that they really love to be doing something else. And often the excuse will be, I can't afford to leave my job and pursue what I love because I won't start earning money for years in time, and what will happen around this? And so I think the blessing in the experience that we have now is that we've been given that space to pause and to disconnect from this sort of rhythm that was getting out of control, and this pace that was perhaps moving too fast for some people. And so, it's really understanding, it's like, you just need to get involved. You need to just start somewhere and really allow yourself to find that compass inside to direct you towards those things that bring you joy and that can help others, because it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen instantaneously, and it's going to take some time. And that's the beautiful part of the journey, is to explore and to discover what these things are. How can we contribute? How can I give to something greater than myself? And that's a really beautiful thing. And you know, I'm still on that journey. I've definitely got clearer on that, but I'm really enjoying how this all unravels. And so really remember that, yeah, things in life don't happen to us, but they happen for us. And so what can we find in regards to these experiences and the wisdom that's there to really help us grow and to really help us, you know what our heart desires and how we can follow that a little bit more. And so feel blessed to be here in this space and be connected with all these other beautiful human beings that are also on their own path and on their own purpose, and know that it's okay to start wherever exactly you are. So thank you so much for having this space and sending you all a lot of love.
Thank you so much, Andrew.
Andrew, I'm so drawn to your energy. This is like the first thing that I noticed about you. I really love this topic because I think that everyone is being placed in a position to really understand their purpose and what parts of their life feels misaligned. And I keep going to this idea of bravery, the idea that, are we brave enough to go explore the unknown? And are we brave enough to trade in safety for discomfort? Because discomfort is actually the telltale sign that we're growing, right? There is no growth when we aren't being stretched and we're just staying inside of the safety net. Are we willing to reorient our relationship with discomfort so that we can actually grow and expand and find that fulfillment and happiness? And it all boils down to bravery. If we're brave enough to, to navigate uncharted territory. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Anne. And I also want to add that it also comes down to the level of trust that we have within ourselves. Because when we know our worth and our value, then others will be able to recognize that within us. And, like Andrew said, a lot of the times people are afraid to quit their jobs because they're like, how am I going to make money? I don't know how long these savings will last me, all these things. But the thing is, law of attraction. It's like when you really trust and believe in yourself, the universe will always have your back and will do all these things and bring all these people into your life to support and to help you. But it's really just trusting in yourself first and cultivating that self-love that you have for yourself, and magic will just unfold. And I'm speaking through experience because magic continues to unfold every day. And I'm telling you, sometimes it's not easy. Like some days I find myself crying and, there's so much discomfort like in life overall, but you have to seek the wisdom in everything. Like if you are committed on this journey of growth, the universe is going to make you so uncomfortable, but it is just allowing you to build capacity, a larger capacity to serve. And I think there's this quote that I found a while ago. It's like, your path is harder because your calling is higher. And I'll always think about that when I'm going through something challenging in my life, because I know that on the other side of this, it's going to be something really, really beautiful that I can learn from. So yeah, that's my add-on to that. Okay, so the next person I have is a dear friend, Avril Laurie, and she is from Australia. She is the global ambassador for We Are One World. Avril's deep appreciation of the need for harmony and aesthetics in the world is played out on a global level, as she is the global ambassador for We Are One World simulation, with its focus on the advancement of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Combined with her warm communication style, she links and builds bridges with international youth organizations, NFP entities and corporate businesses in the Global South, including the ASEAN and Oceania regions. Avril is the relationship glue of We Are One World, and her transparent, genuine caring for participants while promoting their motto, "Together we can do more," making the event truly transformative. Thank you, Avril, for being here. Wait, you just have to unmute yourself, Avril. Bottom left corner.
We good?
Yes, we're good.
Wonderful. I'll reset my timer. Thank you so much, Nee, for the invitation. I'm so excited to be part of this this dozen. Thank you for inviting me to talk about We Are One World. I feel that the title that I gave to this talk, finding your superpower, could be given to Callum, Lauren, and Andrew also. I think we're all on the same page with this. I mean, what is our superpower? I think our superpower is connected to our why. Why do we do what we do? I mean, is it more of a purpose or a passion? I mean, purpose and passion are like the glue that holds our why together. I mean, let me indulge myself and start by sharing with you, albeit briefly, the why behind We Are One World and how it came about. The co-founder and my husband, Ron Laurie, was sitting with his mentor at the time, and the mentor asked him to imagine into the future, to visualize sitting with a grandchild on his knee, and that grandchild asking him the question, "Grandpa, what were you doing when the world was falling apart and everything was in chaos?" Quite a question. How would you feel answering that question? Could you look your grandchild in the eye and answer truthfully that you did everything in your power to make the world a better place for your grandchild and all of humanity? Well, it's now 20 years on. That was 20 years plus ago. And that was the start of his search for purpose, his passion, and the superpower that would fuel his why. You see, everyone has a superpower, but it's not what everyone believes or imagines a superpower is. It doesn't require a cape, a muscle-toned body, a PhD, or even riches. It's your own uniqueness which drives your why. That's your superpower. I think that's what the other speakers have led to as well. I believe it's true to say that the majority of people, particularly people that we work with, just humanity in itself, and as the speakers have already said, this is a pause. As Andrew mentioned, this is an opportunity in time where they have given themselves to recognize their own superpower. And it's not clear like the purpose or passion. It's really what their why is a combination of their purpose and their passion. At We Are One World, one of our main objectives of the simulation that we run and the coaching activities we offer to raise awareness of the world and shift one's perspectives on the role of the individual that we play in the world. We often focus on what we think is our mission, trying to learn, grow our own awareness. A global example of this is when the astronauts were in outer space, focusing on reaching the moon. But it wasn't until they looked back down on the Earth that they experienced the island in one ocean. They called this the overview effect and realized then we are all astronauts on a spaceship called Earth. This was the phrase coined by Buckminster Fuller, an American architect, inventor, futurist, etc., etc., etc. It's one of our role models that we that we love, and we involve a lot of his work and his ingenuity into our work. One of his inventions was the Demaxian map, a map of the world without borders. It's interesting at the moment with the coronavirus, thinking about a world without borders. The We Are One simulation is one of the places that uses the map to use the world's uniqueness, its vulnerabilities and oneness through the many coaching tools and the incredible facilitation by one of Australia's best facilitators and leadership coaches, Ron Laurie, who people find their uniqueness, their vulnerabilities, their oneness, their superpower, and understanding of the part that they play in the world to make themselves a better person for their families and all of humanity. The We Are One World simulation has run in several countries, including Vietnam, Australia, Kuala Lumpur, and USA, just to name a few, including leadership coaching and mentoring in Myanmar, Jakarta, Singapore, Bali, Bangladesh. I mean, at the moment, our wings are clipped with not being able to travel and be with the people, but we're still working with our connections. One of the most repeated quotes that we hear from people who've experienced We Are One World is, "I will never look at the world the same way again." During this time of uncertainty, coronavirus, global chaos, and what seems like the world falling apart, We Are One World are adapting the resources and tools which were birthed over 20 years ago. And yes, we can look at our now 3 grandchildren, knowing we are contributing towards the world's sustainable development goals, a better world of higher consciousness, of greater communication, connectedness, increased civility, and raised understanding of our future world in which we all live. Yes, we all have a superpower to share, and we are all one world. I invite you all today to be a part of this, to be you, to be true in your own superpower. Together we can do more. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Avril.
Thank you.
You made me teary talking about the story at the beginning. That
Thank
was so beautiful. Because I do that sometimes. I like put myself in the future and I think about what the world would be like when, you know, for my children and grandchildren. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. It's important to do that. Very important to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, we're glad we did it 20 odd years ago, especially when we look at our children now. And who could have foreseen that that question would pertain to the chaos that the world is in now? It's incredible.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Avril, thank you so much for sharing that heartfelt story. I'm with me. I love the imagination and how powerful our imagination is if we can just dream a little bit bigger. I was really drawn to this idea that you propose about the power behind the why. And it starts with curiosity. It starts with just getting curious about the world around us and some of the greatest inventions that have actually terraformed human consciousness and transformed our world started with a why. And so, you know, the invitation to also be uniquely us is a powerful one, because we all have our own unique gifts. Our gifts are actually hidden, you know, oftentimes in our suffering. You know, I oftentimes will, people ask me, you know, how do you know whom you're supposed to impact in this world? And I oftentimes will say, well, yeah, it's the girl 20 years ago. It's the woman 10 years ago, areas of my life that have healed. So really looking forward to seeing what One World is about. If you can share some details around that, that would be great. But yeah, invitation was powerful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anne. Thank you, Avril.
Thank you, Nee.
Okay, so the next speaker is my dear, dear soul sister, Jenny Yu from Australia. She is a conscious relationship coach and One Love Humanity facilitator. Jenny is passionate about teaching what we have never been taught in school: how to have a loving and nurturing relationship and make love work. Today, she helps couples who love each other yet are inflicting pain upon themselves and their partner. She gives them the knowledge, the tools, and skills to move from pain and separation to happy and healthy relationships. In the process, she empowers them to be their own healers and grow together as a couple. Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you. That was so beautiful. Yeah, I'm so touched. Hi, everyone. Everyone who's joined us here online, it's such an honor. Just like to take a moment to acknowledge Nee and Anne for organizing this event. And thank you so much for inviting me to speak about my most passionate subject, relationships, especially during these uncertain times where we may find that our relationships are being tested and challenged with the COVID pandemic. Due to the isolation, we may find we feel disconnected from our loved ones or lonely from the separation. And with lockdown, we may feel like we are driving each other insane as we're spending so much more time together than usual. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm Jenny Yu. My life's work is to help couples break their argument patterns and not their relationships by, like what Nee said, giving them the tools, the skills, the knowledge to cultivate happy and healthy relationships so couples can create happy and healthy homes. And ultimately, my goal is so that our children can grow up in loving, safe, and supportive environments to reach their unique potential and flourish. This is why I love and choose to do what I do. And what I want to present today is how to break the painful cycle of arguments. Before I dive into this, I want to clarify that it's actually perfectly normal and healthy to have arguments in our relationships. The key is to handle it in a resourceful manner. This means understanding what we are really arguing about, why we argue, and how we can break the unhealthy patterns that are wrecking our relationships. So let's have a look at the argument breaker diagram. I use this to help a lot of clients break through conflict and bring harmony back into their relationships. Since we only have a few minutes together, I'll just cover it on a macro level. So usually an argument is usually sparked by an event. Something's happened. Usually your partner has said something or done something that you don't like or expect, or maybe the opposite thing happens, that they don't say something or don't do something. And I'll share with you a classic scenario. Your partner forgets to buy you flowers and chocolates on Valentine's Day as promised. This one's happened to me. In that instance, you'll feel this uncomfortable sensation arousing within you. It's like this yuck feeling. What's happening is that the event causes you to feel this internal distress, disharmony, chaos. And to handle the stress internally, it activates your stress response system, triggering unconscious reactions that are driven by our primal instinct, which are mainly the three coping behaviors that everyone probably has heard about, which is fight, flight, or freeze. So let me share with you a few possible scenarios of what actually happens. So you're upset, it triggers your fight mode. You may start yelling and screaming without realizing that your behavior is actually affecting your partner. And that causes your partner's internal response stress system within them and activates their default coping behavior. And if their default coping behavior is fight mode, well, this then will become World War III, because then you're both just yelling and screaming at each other and nothing gets resolved. If their coping mechanism is flight mode, which is running away, they start to distance themselves and avoid you like a plague. And again, nothing gets resolved. If their coping mechanism is number 3, which is freeze, they disassociate and shut down altogether. And again, nothing gets resolved as they've emotionally and mentally checked out. So you can see that when this vicious cycle keeps playing out, it locks couple in a painful cycle of arguments. Over time, frustration and resentment starts to build up. And this is when couples find that what truly matters begin to escalate into full-blown heated arguments. And the $1 million question I'm always asked is, how do you break the painful cycle of arguments? But before we address that, I'm going to give you some tough love. If your relationship is not working, it's your responsibility. I just wanted you to take a moment to let this land. But what tends to happen is that people outsource their happiness and make their partner responsible for their feelings. So let's explore how you can take responsibility and ownership for your relationship. Don't worry, as your partner is also accountable and equally responsible, but let's just focus on your 50%. Since we only have a few minutes today, I'm just going to look at a few key steps briefly. So step 1, stop handing your power over to your partner. What I mean is that stop blaming your partner for your unhappiness. Remember that your happiness is actually your responsibility. Step 2 is identify all the reasons why you're upset. For example, the flowers and chocolates. I was upset because he didn't buy me and it didn't happen, and he promised that. Step 3, investigate. Ask yourself, 1, what did I make this mean about myself? 2, what did I make this mean about my partner? And these are the stories that you've created. So step 4 would be clarify and you need to understand that the meanings you've created are assumptions. They're all assumptions till you've clarified them. So step 5 would be to confirm. Confirm with your partner whether these assumptions are true or false. The same goes for your partner. They will need to go through the same 5 steps. Remember that there's always 2 sides to a story. The key is to get the true story by clarifying all your assumptions and confirming them as well. The full process I bring my clients through is a lot more detailed, but I hope this has given you a broad enough understanding of how to break the argument breaker. I just wanted to leave with you guys is the power is within you to create the relationship you desire. How to love, have a relationship, and make it work is an art and a science. It takes skill and consistent practice. And at the start, it will feel foreign to you, a little uncomfortable, unnatural, just like learning every new skill. Keep practicing it till you master the skill. Then it becomes second nature and natural to you. It will also take time and care to cultivate happy and healthy relationships. So please be gentle and tender and patient with each other as you embark on this exciting journey into your inner worlds. So thank you for listening. I hope this has helped you and wish you all the happiness in your relationships.
Thank you, Jenny. Oh my gosh, I could not stop smiling and laughing the whole time because like Jenny's taken me on this journey many times, and I'm so blessed to have her as a sister because she's like dug me out from like the deepest and darkest places, and she's pretty much one of the reasons why I'm here today. Without her picking me up and showing me the light, I would still be stuck somewhere down there in a ditch. So thank you, Jenny. Love you so much.
Thank you. You had to do the work, my love.
I did a lot of work.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Jenny. That was so insightful, and I love how practical it was. And just a quick note, I take no credit for this event. This is all me. I am just here to support, but she is the superwoman that's created all of this beauty that is around us. What you presented, Jenny, resonated probably with most people on this call, and it's such an important message about ownership, taking ownership over our own experiences, taking ownership, just being willing, you know, that willingness to look within. It still starts with us. You know, I oftentimes will share with other people, because I'm a master of triggers. I used to be triggered all the time, and I used to, you know, take on the disempowerment route, and I would blame the other person. But actually, triggers are our friends. It's our body's way of telling us that there is unresolved or fragmented pieces within us, and it becomes, you know, a point or a foundation for self-inquiry. Our partners, you know, as Jenny has just beautifully reminded us, our partners can serve as powerful mirrors for us, you know. And if there is this, you know, this agreement and commitment between two people to be able to grow and expand as individuals and collectively, it could really lead to, you know, to harmony and to that love that everyone desires. So Jenny, thank you so much for those insights. They were super powerful.
Thank you.
And I agree. Our triggers are the best teachers. So always seek the wisdom in the trigger. Someone's triggering you, just take a step back and ask why. Yeah. Anyways, we'll move forward. Thank you, Jenny. And yeah, if anyone wants some more information, you are welcome to contact Jenny. I'll get Jenny to put her details in the chat box, and then yeah, please reach out to her. She's incredible at what she does. Okay, so our next speaker is my dear sister, Jessica Gabrielli from Australia. She is the founder of Fold and Move, a spiral practitioner, a transformational coach, a human design specialist, and a remedial exercise therapist. She is a Swiss-born movement artist who is interested in living anatomy and finding magic in movement. She has held workshops virtually and face-to-face across Australia, Europe, and Asia for the last 12 years, sharing her love of the human form, human connection, and how we can all heal through moving our bodies. She wants to give you back the ball so you can remember the powerful creator that you are. She will help you do this through a taste of the Fold and Move experience and firmly rooted knowledge that physical movement and creative expression are powerful and accessible entry points for all of us to heal. Thank you, Jess.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Nee. I hope everybody can hear me. It's a little bit, yeah. It's beautiful to be here, and I thank you, Nee, for inviting me to this amazing conference. And I just want to begin by saying thank you for all of us to be here. And it's really through the listening and the gathering of the threads of everyone that have come and that will come on later, and really weaving those threads that I get guided into what to say, really, because there would be so much to share. I think we are one of the highest technology on this planet, and it's very much time that we learned how to use it correctly. And I think in a time of crisis, what we're experiencing right now, this huge time of shift, there is an invitation to do things differently. And I think that has been the story of my life. And I see a lot of mirroring in what is happening now, and an opportunity to share more of that, so that more of us can start doing things differently. And I think in the past, and it is in human nature to, it's in the nature of evolution to try and add more complexity to the picture. And when we think about doing things differently, there is this innate and instant desire to find something that is outside of us, to create that solution, to create a future result. And I think as many of these speakers that have come before have already in their own interpretation explained, there is an invitation to come back within and to really come back to the essence, back to basics. And this is what I would like everyone to acknowledge, that it's not about looking outside in doing things differently. It's very much about reconsidering what has always been here with us, and to actually take a time to look at it. And it is hard nowadays to choose to be in our bodies. I mean, we have been conditioned to be a lot in our heads, and I would like everyone to just take a moment to think about how important or how much presence your physical practice has in your day-to-day life, and how much structure it can give to your everyday life. And an interesting thing that I'm being exposed to with a lot of people that I work with a lot of humans right now, is that the concept of structure is crumbling and needs redefinition. And I would love you to think about how structure has played part in the past 2 months that we have experienced so far, and how the structure of taking work in the environment of the home, how much that has changed, and how much you've been able to create and keep a structure for yourself. And that's where coming back to the body, I have found, is the most direct way for us to come back within ourselves. And that's what I share with a lot of people. And I think what I would love to share with you as well is that the physical body is the easiest way to start to access this inner world. It all begins with the physical body, and to tap into discomfort, to tap into the relationship with ourselves, to tap into showing up to oneself and be brave enough to see what's inside, all starts with our physical vessel. This is the most direct and accessible tool that we have to begin this. And then there's the other side of the coin that has carried me through my journey, and that I share through Fold and Move, which I will give a little bit of a taste of just in a minute, is creativity. And I think creativity is very much going to be the technology of the future that we all in a way need to recover within ourselves. And that's why I would invite every human to start stepping into leadership and childlike spirit, because from the child within ourselves, we retain wonder, we retain curiosity, we retain the ability to have such full presence that we are able to just do and see what happens. And that's how Fold and Move is born. About 7 years ago, I arrived in Australia, and I had finished a master's in fine arts as a fine artist. And thinking very pragmatically, I had thought, well, to sustain my artistic practice, I will pursue the other side of my passion, which is physical movement, as a physical coach in rehabilitation and movement. And many times did I receive the interjection of, oh, that's interesting, you're an artist and you're a PT, a personal trainer, that's interesting. At some point you will have to choose. It's cute, but you'll have to choose. And that just bubbled up the fire, and I just said, watch me, at some point something will happen. And the only thing that allowed me to birth Fold and Move was my showing up, just deciding that I would show up to my artistic practice, although some days I didn't know what I was doing. I absolutely had no idea what I was looking for. Until that day that I was in this little cramped up, converted studio that used to be a bathroom at the top level of the gym where I used to coach. And I was on a Sunday morning painting, and at the moment where I was about to put the brush on the canvas, I heard this massive voice in my head that said, "See, Jess, you're not good enough." And I think we all deal with that sense as adults of, yeah, I'm going to do something, but oh no, I'm going to already stop the process because it's not going to happen. I'm not good enough. And in that moment, I decided to leave my painting practice, to go home and to do something else. And the thing that I reverted to was my physical practice. And in the moment where I took my yoga mat underneath my armpit to go out into the garden, I remembered that childhood activity that I'm pretty sure every one of you here will connect to, where you take a piece of paper, blank paper, you fold it in half, and you find the midline. And then unfolding it, you splatter some paints on it, you flatten it up, and then when you open up, you've got a beautiful symmetry print that looks like a butterfly. And I remember that's the only thing that I kind of wanted to create on that day and in that moment. And one for one, I started realizing, oh, okay, how about doing this right in that moment in the backyard, taking a big piece of canvas, splattering some paint, folding the canvas in half, sealing the edges and putting it underneath the yoga mat, and just creating through my physical practice a painting that was invisible to my eyes. And lo and behold, that day, after about 45 minutes of moving on that mat, I unrolled the mat with so much excitement to realize that, oh shit, there's still the painting underneath the mat. And to unroll the yoga mat and to really be excited like a kid, to unwrap it like a Christmas present, and to unfold a painting that looks very much like what you see behind me here, which is basically the very original first fold and move soul map. And I call it a soul map because in that moment where you move on your map, obviously through a very defined process now, I help people tap into different layers of themselves to discover landscapes that have very rarely the opportunity to come up for us. From our emotions to our ability to tap into visualization, to our ability to go into the unknown and just see what happens without killing the process in the first place, and to basically be left with a sense of wonder at the end of the experience. And the powerful thing about this process is it brings it back to experience. It brings it back to the body and to the creative process where you have actually created something that comes out of you and that will give you the momentum to continue to go into experiences in your life where you step out with an element of wonder and perhaps of curiosity of what you are able to create in this life. And it comes from a place of physical movement, coming back and choosing to be in your body, and also just playing and having fun. So there's lots that I would love to share and that I'm sure we could exchange here, but I will leave it at that. And I would just invite everyone to choose a little bit more frequently to be in your bodies and to also see where you have an opportunity to retain an element of curiosity and of wonder, because that is where you will tap into your essence and to discover more and more about what it is that you have to give this world. Thank you so much, guys. I'm very excited to be here.
Thank you so much, Jess. I felt like you just brought me back to the whole experience of Fold and Move. I was blessed enough to experience this magic, I think, over a year and a half ago when I was going through a very weird time in my life. And I remember coming to the experience and it just brought so much clarity for me. And I remember coming to meet Jess, I think a few weeks later to see my map, and I was so blown away because I knew that the map was created through every single little movement and connection that I had with that map, and also all the emotions and feelings that I was going through that time as well were all imprinted on there. Whether it was, joy, love, anger, everything was imprinted on there. And yeah, it's such an incredible experience. And I hope that one day everyone here could experience her magic. And I'd love to bring Jess to Bali in the future and have a workshop here. That is my goal. So hopefully this will all be over soon and we can all create some magic together. Thank you, Jess.
Just a quick one for me. Thank you, Jess. I love your talk. I am all about movement. Actually, movement has become a really powerful healing modality for me because, as many of you guys probably know, we are energetic beings, and trauma or emotions are encoded in the fibers of our muscles. And so when we use movement as a way to expand and heal some of those areas of our lives, consequently, we're also healing the emotional body. And the fact that you've created this modality that allows people to transfer the beauty of their energy into something that's tangible and something that, that invites you to go on that journey on a daily basis. I mean, that's quite powerful. There's so much beauty in creating from our story. And so, yeah, so it's amazing. I love that whole integration of body, healing, emotions, energetics.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anne. Thank you again, Jess. Okay, next up we have Amit Miglani. He is from America, but he's living in Bali, Indonesia, someone very, very dear in my life. He is a meditation and yoga teacher and a Reiki healer grandmaster. Amit has a zest for living life with joy, love, and wonder. Born into a family where bhakti yoga is a daily ritual, yoga has always been a strong influence in his life. The therapeutic benefits and healing power of yoga inspired him to leave his corporate career in New York City and pursue training in meditation, yoga, and Reiki. His passion is to share his knowledge and help others discover clarity, warmth, and power within themselves. Amit has a wonderful ability to pass down yogic wisdom in ways that are applicable to modern times. He has studied various modalities of yoga and focuses his personal practice on Kriya Yoga, meditation, and healing.
Hello, test. Thank you. Thank you so much, Nee. Appreciate it very much. Appreciate all that are in support of this organization and making this experience possible. Namaste and warm greetings to all. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Invitation to close the eyes for a moment. Invitation to close the eyes. Deep inhale from the nostrils. Audible exhale from the mouth. Once again, another invitation for a deep, deep inhale. Perhaps release any tension within your neck, roll around your neck. Exhale from the mouth. And once again, deep inhale through the nostrils. Perhaps stretch out your legs, stretch out your arms. Begin to get a little bit comfortable in that breath. Gently, gently guide your awareness and all of your focus into that breath. The sensations of that breath, the movement, the sound. Distance. Distance yourself from the interest of your thoughts. Distance yourself from what you know. Distance yourself from your memories. Try to just focus only on the sensations of this life, this breath, entering into your body, being shared from your body. Deepen into the silence. As there is a sound behind the silence, there's a sound of creation inside of us, behind all the noise of these thoughts, behind the noise of what's going on outside, there is a sound. There's a sound to the greatest creator inside of you. It lies behind the thoughts, behind the silence. And it is through this practice of silence that we cultivate our relationship, our knowing of that sound, allowing it to become our North Star. Behind stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. Viktor Frankl. I forgot who said this as well. I think it was Tesla. Something on, to understand the whole universe, you need nothing to look further than vibration, sound, and energy. There's a musical composition going on outside in each of our lives right now. How well we can play in accord to it is based upon that cultivation of our sound inside that resides behind our thoughts, behind our silence. A resonating theme that I have picked up, that I've heard from all of the speakers so far, is this idea of responsibility, this sense of ownership of self, to be in and experience a state of flow. Flow. Have you experienced this total and absolute engagement? To lose your sense of self, to be without distractions. Distractions fade away in that flow. Everything flows naturally at the height of your skills. Wow, wow, wow. Such beautiful times. My favorite times. Times that I actually call times of timelessness. Time ceases to exist when we are in the state of flow. And then life throws us a musical composition, something that we want to play with, that we have to play with, that we don't want to play with. And we are left with a choice. And we forget that we have a choice. We surrender. We surrender to emotions of despair, anger, grief, denial. But we do indeed have a choice. Just as we have physical exercises to strengthen our physical body, we have silence to strengthen our mind, strengthen our heart. Because that sound inside of us, that sound of creation, is a sign, is a sound of warmth, kindness, resilient joy, and noble humility. It is through cultivation of this relationship, of that sound, that we can take this state, this flow, from a temporary state to a permanent trait. If we think of things as sound and vibration, if a droplet falls in a lake and have all those ripples effects, each one of those ripples signifies another harmony that we can play our sound with. But if we become blocked with the situation, whatever it is, we must play with it in order to go to the next and higher frequency. Because our actions influence the reactions of those that are around us. We are here to lift one another up, whether indirectly or directly. I believe that we are all here to help one another out. I invite each of you that doesn't have it already, to engage in this practice of silence. Begin with 10 minutes a day. Start somewhere. I'm here to assist any of you. Over the next 30 days, I myself am giving myself a silent challenge, and I would like to support those of you who would like to join in with me. A place of support, a place of accountability and motivation to experience that sound inside of you, to play in the musical composition of your life. If anyone's interested in that, they can meet me at Amit in Bali on Instagram, Facebook, or .com, Amit in Bali. Great gratitude, great sense of gratitude to each of you. Thank you so very much for your focus. Thank you to Nee. Thank you to all the supporters of making this experience possible.
Wow. Thank you, Amit.
Thank you, Nee.
Amit has been a huge catalyst for my growth and expansion, and he holds Kundalini classes online right now, and also healing meditation. So if anyone is interested, it's purely donation based. He is incredible, one of the most incredible yoga teachers, healers that I know, and you will always come out shifted, changed, expanded, without a doubt.
I can definitely attest to that. I've had the privilege of joining Amit's classes, both at Yoga Barn and also privately when he comes over and does a private session with us. I have to tell you, I got kind of lost in the meditation, so my mind kind of went into theta state. So the only thing that I can remember is just this feeling of peace and calmness inside of me, and also what you talked about in terms of flow, and how in order for us to achieve flow in our life, we have to be able to accept the resistance and not to actually resist it, whatever is coming up in life, to bravely accept it so that it can flow through. And how difficult is it to be in silence? Who else here has difficulty with silence? I will.
Not me. I'm great at it.
I have so much difficulty, and you know, there's a lot of curiosity there. Why What is, you know, what are we afraid of allowing to emerge from silence? You know, distraction has been taken away from us for good reason. And so, Amit, I might join you on that invitation for silence in the next 30 days. Thank you for that amazing, amazing meditation.
Great. I'm going to join as well.
Awesome.
Thank you, Amit.
Thank you, guys. Look forward to it.
Thank you.
Okay. So next we have Unaristri, also known as Jane Wong, and she is from Australia, but currently she is living in Bali. She is a dear, dear friend. She specializes in projecting her voice into crystal bowls and Tibetan bowls to create healing tones, sounds, and frequencies. She also uses other various sound healing instruments along with her voice to create a deep state of relaxation. In December 2018, she was diagnosed with grade 3 stomach cancer and had 2/3 of her stomach removed. But that did not stop her from becoming her sole purpose of a voice sound healer. She always felt the diagnosis was a blessing in disguise, a wake-up call. The doctors told her it was aggressive, but she refused chemo, changed her diet, and stopped the corporate job to focus on healing and moved to Bali. She chose to pave her own path, heal her own way, and follow her heart to be a sound healer in hope to share her story to remind others the power of the body to heal itself. Thank you, Jane.
Thank you so much.
I can't really hear you properly.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, better.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, much better. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Ni, for inviting me here to speak with such beautiful souls. I'm deeply grateful and humbled. Thank you. And thank you, Amit. That amazing meditation really helped calm my nerves. I was super nervous. Oh my God, I'm coming up and now I'm really calm. So thank you. It's perfect. Thank you, Ni. She's given me 11 minutes. I should start the timer because I am going to spend half of it talking and then I'll give the other half sound healing for everybody to just calm and relax and bring your mind and selves to the present moment and perhaps to get some messages from your higher self. So my name is Jane. I go by Inuristri, which is my sound healer name that I received in a deep meditation. And I will be talking about how sound is medicine and also the medicine of the future, as Edgar Cayce quote. But, you know, I'm sure everyone can feel the future is now. And I'd also like to share the importance of finding your soul purpose, living it, which is basically what happened to me. So as Ni mentioned, you know, I'm a vocal sound healer, but I've not always been that. In fact, most of my life, although I have been singing most of my life in multiple bands with managers telling me how to sing, what to sing, like most people, I also had, you know, my job, which became the main thing. I was, you know, I did like most people did, you know, finish studies, go to university. I did multimedia business marketing and, you know, then I ended up in a corporate job and did the whole 9-to-5 thing and burnt myself out and, you know, always felt something was missing, always felt there's more to life than this. And, you know, fortunately or unfortunately, my passion got pushed to the side, as does most of everybody's, gifts do get pushed to the side. But I'm lucky enough that something huge happened, which firstly, two things happened, and this only happened a year and 5 months ago, actually. So firstly, I went to my first sound bath where I received sounds. And oh my God, if you have not been to a sound bath, you've got to do it. You just lie there and receive sounds and frequencies. And as we all know, the whole universe is all about sounds, frequencies, and energies, as Amit quoted Tesla just before. We are all energy, frequencies, and vibration. And so throughout that sound bath, I got to receive all these beautiful sounds from Tibetan bowls, vocal sounds, and it gave me the biggest epiphany that my whole life, my passion being to sing and to use my voice, I thought the only way I could do it was to be in bands as a hobby on the side. I realized then I actually was shaking in the session from and crying from tears of joy, and finding my soul passion, realizing I'm meant to use my voice for sound healing. And who would have thought 2 weeks later, I ended up in hospital for 3.5 weeks, threw up blood, went into massive emergency, 9 liters of fresh blood. And then was diagnosed, I had been diagnosed with stomach cancer. That was huge, in which the following day they took 2/3 of my stomach out. As Nee mentioned, I never once thought, oh, poor me, oh, why me? I didn't even cry about it. I just really knew, wow, the universe is giving me a massive kick up the butt. It's telling me you're not listening, I'm giving you all these signs, so I'm going to really shake up your world. And I realized the universe was giving me that huge wake-up call. And in fact, the whole time I was in hospital, all I could think about was, oh my God, I found my soul purpose. I need to be a sound healer. How can I do this? It wasn't even about the diagnosis or illness. But I did go against the oncologist when I left hospital, refused chemo, trusted in my body to heal itself, listened to my heart, listened to my gut, and my gut was telling me it doesn't make sense to do it their way to kill my whole immune system. I need it. So I basically just changed my whole diet, removed all stresses from my life, and really chased that passion of mine, which had me in Bali just for a month for a holiday, really. And then I recorded my first 3 sound healing tracks professionally, which was a huge dream of mine. And then I realized how healing it is to put my body in such a beautiful environment, to be in nature and to eat fruits, fresh foods and things that's good for your body. So I highly recommend everybody to think about what's causing stress in your life. Not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and chase the things that make you laugh, make you happy, give you joy, that thing that makes your heart beat, that makes you feel alive and makes your cells smile, which is what sound is to me. So I have a bunch of other stuff I really wanted to talk to you, but I'm watching the timer. So let's just drop into relaxing as I give you all a sound healing, and so you can feel the power of even just 5 minutes. So I'd like to invite everybody to just close your eyes, slow down your breath, and just concentrate and focus on breathing deeply and slowly. Just breathing deeply and slowly. Calming the breath, slowing down the mind, relaxing your entire physical body, letting all muscles just melt away. Letting go of all thoughts, all thinking. Nothing else exists in the world right now other than the sounds you're receiving. And letting go of all emotions from today, from yesterday. Letting go of all emotions from last week, last month, last year. And just slowly coming back to your body, feeling yourself coming back to your body as you make small adjustments. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back to this space. And thank you again, everybody, for being here and sharing. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. I'm also offering my 3 sound healing tracks recorded in Bali. For anyone who's interested, send me a message. And I'll humbly and gratefully receive any amount by donation to support me and help me to keep doing my passion to help others. And I'd just like to finish with, we are all here to shine, to share our gifts within us, which we all have. And it's time to listen to our inner voice and remember what brings you the most joy, and to bring that out to the surface and have the courage to share your gifts, because we all have it and everybody needs you to share. Now it's time to not be selfish and share it with the world. So thank you, Nee. Thank you for everyone's time, and blessings to all. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jane. Oh my goodness. I felt like after and Jane, I kind of just like want to curl up into a ball, like go to sleep. It was so relaxing. And when you said, oh, allow, insights to come through, and I was like, oh, okay, I wonder what insights I'm going to get. And the insight I got was to celebrate after tonight's conference, eat burritos and vegan ice cream. And I just laughed. I was like, okay. So that's what we're going to have tonight, Anne. Taco casa and chocolate ice cream.
How can I refuse that? Jane, wow. As you were speaking, I was just kind of brought to like all of the wisdom that we've all gained from all other speakers, chasing the things that make you happy and joyful. It's really that simple, and the power of our story, and whether or not we choose to use our story to empower us to make a difference, or to be disempowered by it and fall victim of it. And it's so clear, Jane, that you have chosen, the more empowered path. And I am so grateful for having been treated with that beautiful whoa. Like I felt tingles like in the tips of my fingers, and I was brought back to Jess's talk. I mean, it was just like, so thank you for the beauty of your soul and your craft.
Thank you, Anne. Thank you so much, Jane. So blessed to have you in my life. Okay, so the next speaker we have is Beklar, my dear best friend and soul sister from Melbourne, Australia. She is the founder of Conscious Convos podcast, a registered nurse, and also a naturopath in training. Conscious Convos podcast is a platform where real topics, real people, and real conversations live. It is a playground in which the unconventional is explored, our humanness is shared, and human potential and paradigms are challenged. Through the power of story, vulnerability, and conversation, Beck's mission is to wake people up by challenging paradigms, triggering self-inquiry, and planting seeds for self-healing. Welcome, Beck.
Hello. Oh, hey everyone.
Hi.
First of all, thank you so much, Jane. Oof. I'm too relaxed to speak my truth today. Sorry, guys. That was really beautiful and amazing, and I'm really grateful to be here. So thank you, everyone. So today I'm going to be speaking about the power of sharing our humanness. And to start off with, I'm going to start with a story. So When I was 2, my father left. He started a new family with a new woman, and I haven't had a relationship with him since. The 2-year-old me didn't really know it at the time, but this moment of him leaving and not returning would shape many choices, behaviours and experiences for much of my life afterwards. That experience itself etched in me the stories that I was replaceable, forgettable, insignificant, unworthy of love from a parent, unworthy of love from a male, and that the people that I love always leave. Every day when my mother, who now became a single parent, needed to drop me off at childcare, I would cry inconsolably for hours at the window, waiting for her, afraid that she too might not return, afraid that I would never see her again. So growing up in an Asian culture, I was taught that to be a respectful, obedient, and good girl meant that I must not speak up, I must not argue. Staying small, staying quiet, staying unopinionated meant staying safe, right? I confused passivity for peace, communication for conflict, and I really traded authenticity for acceptance and for approval. And most of all, I learned that my own voice didn't matter. Being good meant that I was good enough, and being obedient meant that I was loved. And as I grew older, I got stuck, like most of us do, hiding behind the, hey, how are you? Yes, I'm good, I'm good. The surface level interactions that we so often find ourselves in society, that we throw around so meaninglessly, too afraid to go any deeper, too afraid to come out under my many masks that I had collected over time by then. And at the core of it was really just a fear of being rejected, a fear of being too seen, too naked. So I would reveal parts, mold other parts, hide the rest that was too real, too painful, or too messed up. I mean, if my own father couldn't love me, then who would, right? So cut to my mid-20s, and suddenly at the end of a 3-year relationship, I find myself collapsed, distraught, and crying on my shower floor. It was one of those cries where you're left gasping for air. I had just found out that my partner was leaving and someone else was in the picture. There I was again, being replaced just like that, being forgotten and disposed of, you could say. And it was in that moment that I realized that the one who was crying, gasping for air, the one who was aching deeply, wasn't the 25-year-old me, but the wounded little girl who felt abandoned at 2 years old. The same tears that little girl's eyes had at the childcare window were now falling from my 25-year-old tear ducts. The same wounds of you're not good enough, you don't deserve to be loved, had been sitting there the entire time. How could this be? I asked myself. And that's when I knew that it was time to begin doing the work. And that's when I knew that the healing needed to begin. So why am I sharing this with you guys? You may not have been that little girl who never really knew her dad, but I know for a fact that you all have experienced pain. I know that you have experienced grief, loss, heartache, sadness, anger, perhaps betrayal. We all have wounds that we unconsciously carry as children into our adult bodies. And at the crux of it, we all experience the same emotions, pains of not enoughness, insecurities, and fears that make up the DNA of this magical human experience. The only difference is the events, the characters, the paths differ between us. Through sharing our humanness, we realize that, hey, maybe we're not all that different. Maybe that we're all a little bit fucked up in our own way. Through sharing our humanness, suddenly I see myself in you and you see yourself in me. Suddenly I'm not alone in my struggle. Suddenly I see, hear, and understand a different perspective. That's learning, isn't it? I understand you more, which helps me understand me more. And that's the power of conversation. That's the power of sharing. When I realized that perhaps you're not all that different from me, and that maybe we're just as messed up as each other, then perhaps I can empathize. Then I can feel compassionate towards. Then I can understand. And if I can understand, then I won't judge, condemn, or get distracted by the walls of stigma and the walls of labels. And if I'm in this place, then I can be more connected and loving. You see, it's from this place that we can begin to heal, that we can begin to actually hear each other, to learn from each other, to co-create and empower and inspire. So I decided to create this place as a platform called Conscious Combos, which is weird, right? Because the girl who didn't have a voice now has a podcast. It's a bit of a joke. So through the power of sharing our humanness, through the power of storytelling, asking questions, through conversation, my mission is to mainstream consciousness in order to elevate it. I want to mainstream healing. I want to wake people up to themselves, like Annie said before, by questioning deeper. I want to challenge the current paradigms and stigmas, because the current paradigm is not working. We all know that. Let's just get real about that. And I want people to realize the power and value of being them, unfiltered, without masks of fear. Everyone here today has a powerful message to share. Everyone. And the potency of that message, the ripple effect of it, can be even more powerful if we dare to infuse it with our humanness. Remember, if we don't share our humanness, our struggles, our pains, what we've gone through, our healing ends at us. And if you ask me, we're not here just to heal ourselves. We're not here to heal we're here to heal ourselves and the people around us, and therefore the world around us. So let me ask you now, where can you be more raw, more real, more vulnerable in your life? Which masks are you wearing because you convince yourself it's safer this way? And how can you actually brave up the courage to allow yourself to be more seen? And I'm just going to leave it at that. So thank you.
Thank you, Beck. That was so powerful. I'm speechless. I can't, the amount of times that Beck and I have broke down and cried together. Countless. And that's the beauty of sharing our humanness, right? It's being able to share with our, friends and family the things that we're going through, and also with the public as well. I feel like that takes a lot of strength and courage, and we can use our own story to really empower others. So thank you, Beck, for this beautiful, beautiful reminder, as always.
Beck, thank you for your vulnerability. I totally echo everything that Nee had shared. It was, sometimes we like to complicate things. I certainly can speak for myself and just talk about how to heal, just go into the practicalities of how to actually do these things. But when we anchor it to, something deeper and something personal, like a really, really painful story like that, it really does sink in. It's not just at this level, it sinks in. And I'm sure many of us have experienced some level of pain and some level of suffering. And there's healing in being able to tell our story. Again, I keep going back to what Callum has kind of seared in me. We can either own our story or we can be owned by it. So yeah, thank you for your vulnerability. Very powerful.
Thank you. Okay. So the next speaker we have is Alexia Usgard from America. I met Alexia probably 1.5 or 2 years ago in Bali at a restaurant, really briefly, and we connected there. And she's now the founder of the Fierce Movement, and she's a leadership expert and a self-care advocate. She has spent over a decade studying fear, integrative biology, stress, mindfulness, and leadership across the world, from Silicon Valley to Southeast Asia, and now Africa, using what she's learned to support women to redefine success on their terms. Alexia has also worked with some of the world's leading entrepreneurs, influencers, and billionaire CEOs. She is currently coaching female leaders around the world, speaking on leadership and empowerment panels, changing organizations from the inside out, and offering group coaching programs with the mission of connecting the visionary women of the world.
Thank you so much. I just feel so full and so buzzing to just be in a space where you just feel like you're surrounded by light workers, by change makers, by leaders who just fill my heart with so much gratitude. So thank you for this space and for this container. Gosh, there's so much to echo based on what everyone here has shared and the power of their stories and the power of knowing your superpowers. And I just so deeply relate to so much of this and the different healing modalities that go into everyone's journeys and stories. And I think for me, I'll just start by sharing that I personally am just obsessed with people. Like, I am just intrigued deeply by what are the stories behind people, what interests them, what motivates them, what are they curious about. It motivates me to explore cultures. It motivates me to understand at the depth, and more than anything, what is connection. And I feel, actually, I wasn't expecting this, but I feel like this is what I'm really going to speak on, because I feel this is the heart of what the Fierce movement is about and why it came about. And it's funny way as everyone's journeys play, right? Where I did not have a linear path to my story either. And there's so much in it, and there's so many little pieces you can even see in me being in San Francisco and Asia and now in Africa. But I think the key thing behind it is really me coming to understand the power of connection, the power of how much I am so deeply interested to understand how do we get so connected to ourselves, connected to our truth, connected to the darkness within us, as well as from this space, how do we connect people? In a time like now, where more than ever you can watch, I'm witnessing, even being here in South Africa with my family across the world, watching friends and clients and women and people across the world, I'm watching the separation come in. I'm watching the fear come in. I'm watching the messaging of fear. And I can just tell you from my own journey, without going into all the depths of it, I know that through actually the loss of my father, and it sounds like there's a lot of resonance through that, and that's a lot of one of the big wake-up calls in my life. I really had to learn to sit with myself and understand my own legacy. I had to sit there at a young age and look and go, what is this all about? And to come to the truth of myself, I came to realize that so much of the legacy that I wanted to lead was to be part of solving the problem of really bringing people together, solving the problem of fear and just disconnection and separation, and really work to create a free and connected world. Within myself, I came to find that what's actually led me so much on my journey to make pivots, to have compassion, to be courageous, to leave and go across the world multiple times, to go actually against what a lot of my mentors and people who I very much trusted to give me advice on my path, to really trust my own heart, my own vision so deeply, to walk in the messiness and the shakiness and the tears and the confusion of like, I just feel like I have to do this. Like, I just feel so fueled to know. And I feel so deeply that that's my legacy in knowing that. And so in the work I do with the Fierce movement, I'm really all about how do we get to the core? How do we decode the fear within ourselves? How do we decode the specific fears that we carry? And how do we transform them? How do we really turn them into, you can say, our power, our potential? We can unlock the shoulds, the limitations. I was someone who wanted to be a vet her entire academic career, ended up in Silicon Valley. So there's a whole bunch of story there, but there's so much of just, what if we take ourselves out of the limitation cage of ourselves? And then what if we actually look at others? What if we actually see them for the gift of the multifaceted beings that they actually are? And for me, what I've just witnessed in my own work and something I'm just deeply passionate in my group coaching and just all the work I do is, how do we work through our own fear when we are also surrounded by others, different identities, different cultures, different backgrounds? What happens, what I see personally in my work, is the moment we put people together in one space, whether it's virtually or ideally in person, all of the ideas we have of separation, all the constructs we create that we aren't very similar, often dissolve, and we actually see each other so much for the truth of who we are. And more than anything, we also see each other for the gift of our uniqueness, the superpower within us. And so I kind of just challenge us all today to really take a moment. I'll leave with two things. One is, what is a fear that's been trying to talk to you? Because I deeply feel, especially this is my biology side coming in, that fear is a sensory signal here to tell you something. And what if you actually just gave yourself a moment to give it a voice, to invite it in? I say gently, compassionately, courageously, give it a moment, a space to be felt with love, with compassion, with curiosity. I am all about following the curiosity and to ask it, hey, I am listening. What have you been trying to tell me I so deeply care about? Because within scared is a word I love more than anything, which is care. So what if it actually is just here to tell you you care about something? And last but not least, in a time, I know there was so much pressure, I think especially obviously I work a lot with female leaders, a lot of pressure to lean in, to always be the one making the step and to show up. What if we get so good at leaning on each other? What if we actually made an effort to see if we can receive, to see how we can collaborate? Because if, like this example here today, if we're going to bring this mission, if we're going to create this new world together, it's going to take us working together, collaborating, and us from various parts of the world sharing. So just what does that look like for you? And I hope I can be an advocate for you in whatever way you need to connect you with yourself in a beautiful way, to just connect in any way that supports you in magnifying your leadership mission. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. And I'm just absolutely honored.
Thank you so much, Alexia. So grateful to have you here and for sharing that wonderful message. So, so powerful.
Alexia, thank you so much for really nailing that, and bringing that home. I'm reminded of how, of what it is that really connects, what is that connective fiber that really stitches us together as a humanity. And, what is it? For me, it's compassion, and to know that we're all having very unique, perfectly normal human experiences. And I personally, I've come to realize that, when there is tension between me and someone else, that tension is mine to own. And it is really important for me to, go into a self-introspective mode and say, like, what part of me is, as Beck was suggesting, there's like a little girl inside of me that's, saying, like, I want to protect you. I don't want you to experience this. And if we can just have a little bit of compassion towards ourselves and other people, oh man, like the kind of world that we could live in. I love the work that you're doing. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Anne. Thank you again, Alexia. Okay. So the next speaker we have is my dear, dear friend, Ayla Anderson from New Zealand. She is a self-love expert, holding space for women to be seen, heard, and held as they reclaim their worth and step into their fullest expression.
Hi. Can you hear me? Yes.
Yes.
Cool. I just want to start by saying I feel so grateful to be here And just to have listened to all of the previous speakers up until now, that was just absolutely incredible. I love so much what you said, Alexia, about care being in scared. That was like such a light bulb moment for me, and I think I literally wrote it down. I really want to remember that anytime that I am, you know, feeling those emotions. So thank you so much. I feel really excited to share some goodness with you guys tonight, and I think that my story and the message that I'm here to share is really similar to Beck as well. So thank you for sharing your vulnerability and your authenticity. That was really beautiful. So I got the best start in life when it comes to the message that I get to spread. I was brought up in just the absolute best way possible to step into this truth. From the day that I was born, I was put through many different experiences which allowed me to step into a place where I can help people to love themselves. On the morning of my 10th birthday, I was sitting in the kitchen with my piñata and I was putting all my lollies in the piñata. Mum was at the kitchen bench and she was getting food prepared before all my friends showed up. And I heard some steps walking down the deck of the house and realized it was my dad. Growing up, my dad was actually struggling with a drug addiction and he was hardly ever around. And during this time of my life, my mum had actually left my dad and put a restraining order on him. And so when he arrived on my 10th birthday, I was so excited. But within that also, as soon as he walked in the door, my parents started arguing. And I just remember sitting at the kitchen table thinking, can you guys just, like, for one day, please get on? Like, it's my birthday. Within minutes, my mum had called the cops, and once they arrived, I ran down the hallway to my bedroom. I heard yelling, and so I jumped out my bedroom window and started running down the driveway and running down the road. And as I was running down the road, I heard a car door shut and I looked behind me and both my mum and my dad were being taken away from the police, by the police, I should say. And in that moment, I just felt so heartbroken. I was running down the street, bawling my eyes out, just so hurt, I guess I felt so rejected and worthless and betrayed. And in that moment, I remember thinking, like, if I'm not even good enough for my own parents, how can I be good enough for anything in life? And so this is kind of the foundation that my life was starting on, in this place where I was constantly questioning my worth because of the actions that were happening around me. And I love my parents and I'm so grateful for this experience because it's been the perfect foundation for me to step into a place of self-love and to just share this beautiful energy with the world. We grow up in a society and a world where we're taught that we're not good enough. We're taught to validate ourselves externally. We're taught that in order to be loved and accepted, we have to act in a certain way. We have to suppress our wild side, the funny parts of us, because, you know, that's not always accepted, or we're not always made to feel great about some of the different aspects of ourselves. Growing up for me, I knew that I just wanted to be seen. I just wanted to be loved. I wanted to be held and I wanted to be heard. And so that's what I started searching for. I started searching within men, wasn't fulfilling. I searched within my body, got abs, still wasn't fulfilling. I searched within business success, all of the different avenues which you could find success. I was searching there, where you could find fulfillment or love. I was searching there until one day I stood in the mirror in the midst of depression, a binging disorder, and body dysmorphia. And I looked in the mirror and I said, I love you. And those 3 words just changed my life forever. from there, I have been able to create such an incredible reality for myself, and the ripple effect that that vibration of love that I am able to carry has moved through so many people, thousands of people. And that's the message that I really want to share with you today, is the power of really owning your authentic truth and your fullest expression, so that you can too create a ripple effect around the planet, whatever that looks like for you. Because what I realized through the vibration of love is I was able to travel the world learning about the art of love from ancient cultures. I was able to create my own reality now. I was able to feel good enough and attract in men that actually treated me right, attract in experiences that fulfilled me. And it's just amazing what opens up, the magic that we can open ourselves up to when we are in this vibration. So without that perfect start in life, without those 3 words, I wouldn't be here sharing this message with you today. And for that, I feel so grateful, because the frequency of love is the frequency of success. And with the way that the world's going right now and what this new earth is calling for, we are being asked now more than ever to lead from love, to lead from our fullest expression and our true authenticity, and loving who we are and sharing our authentic truth is so important when it comes to shifting the vibration and the consciousness of humanity. Because when we stand in the vibration of love and our true essence, we empower others to follow suit, and we show them that it's okay to be them too. We show them that they can live in their fullest expression and their best life too. And that's where the change is going to start happening. When we connect with our true essence and the beauty of who we are, everyone that is connected to that message as well is going to follow with us, and they'll be there with us. So if you're scared about expressing yourself truly and authentically, just know that anyone who's meant to be in your life and is coming along with the journey, on this journey with you, will be there. And as we stand in our truth, suddenly comparison falls away. Suddenly our doubts begin to shrink. Suddenly we become into this flow, and we're in this beautiful co-creation. Magic, synchronicities, and divine partnerships begin to unfold everywhere we go. And it is through this vibration that we change the world. It is through this vibration that we make a greater difference, not only within ourselves and those around us, but the generations that are to come. And so I just want to ask you right now, what within you are you shying away from that is here within you to shine? What strengths are you not acknowledging within yourself? What is waiting to be seen? It's from this space that our greatest gifts unfold, and the incredible nature of the universe gets to play through us in this beautiful human experience. You're not here in this beautiful space by accident. You know deep within you that it's your time to let yourself authentically shine. And I just want to end this little chat with one note, and that is, you are not just one human in the entire universe. You are the entire universe in a human. You are stardust. You are divine. You are so freaking amazing in every single way. And every decision you take from that knowing is going to create magic all around you. And it just takes one decision in every single day to choose love and to show up from your fullest expression, and you are creating a ripple effect around the planet and changing the world. So thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you so much for this opportunity, Nee, and just sending you all so much love in this beautiful time that we get to be a part of right now.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Thank you so much, Kayla. I learned so much about self-love through Kayla, through her Instagram and Facebook and everything that she embodies. She is just an incredible soul that I was so, so blessed to meet here in Bali as well. And we just got along so well as soon as we met. And yeah, I'm so, so grateful to have her here to share her wisdom and her knowledge through self-love.
Thank you.
So thank you, Kayla.
Ayla, thank you for your vulnerability. And it all just, just reminds me of the one universal fact that it all just boils down to love. That's it. It is all about love. And your story reminds me of this powerful realization that I made a few years ago, that we cannot possibly recognize love. We cannot possibly recognize a language that we have not learned for ourselves. And so when we experience love without having loved ourselves, it becomes conditional love. Then we start to expect, other things in exchange for that love. But when we are boundless and when we have filled our own cups and we have learned to love ourselves, we will be able to actually share that love from an unconditional place. And there's so much more to it. I love your vibe. I wish I could put you in my pocket so that whenever I need some encouragement, I can pull you out and there it is. Thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so, so much. So much goodness. I can barely contain it. Oh my gosh. Okay, so the last and final speaker is my dear soul sister, Anne Espiritu. She is from America, but we are currently living together. She's behind this wall. She is the Chief International Officer for the Contentment Foundation, a non-profit organization that has built tools designed to help families, teachers, and students understand, manage, and process their emotions and life experiences. Nearly 3 years ago, she made a significant leap in her life and left a successful track as a global corporate executive for highly watched technology companies, most notably Yahoo. Little did she know that she was answering to a deep and divine calling to give up her worldly wealth in preparation to serve humanity during such an extraordinary time in our history. Today, she's with us to share a message that's been gifted to her by her divinity as a fellow divine being, light worker and way shower. An invitation about the importance of shifting in, showing up, and shining our light during this planetary transformation we are all in today.
First of all, I just want to acknowledge every single one of you guys. I feel slightly pressured, to be honest, to be going last. This has been so inspiring. It's so clear that we have such a powerhouse of light workers and change makers that are leading and paving the path. And just a kudos to me for assembling an extraordinary group. Wow. Whew. Okay, so my message is a lot more simple. I want to start by sharing a story and an experience that I had recently. At the top of the global pandemic, like many of you guys, I felt really moved to serve humanity in a really big way. I was, watching social media and all of my fellow lightworkers and the conscious community, kind of declare that, this is time. It's time for us to step up and step in and stand tall in service of humanity. And rightfully so, our planet is undergoing such a huge transformation. And One that I don't think, I mean, I certainly can speak for myself, that I don't think that I would have ever imagined I would be experiencing in this lifetime. And I went through the many ebbs and flows of my emotions. Certainly fear struck me, in particular because my dad, who is 70 years old and has advanced stages of Parkinson's disease, was actually staying with me in Bali, and we were on a healing journey together. And all of a sudden, you know, at the height of the global pandemic, I was literally having to book his flight, you know, so that he can spend quarantine in San Francisco. But that meant that I was going to be risking his life. He was probably among the 0.01% at high risk for dying if he captured this. So there was definitely a lot of fear that gripped me. But on the other side too, weirdly enough, I was experiencing a little bit of excitement. I felt like, wow, the universe is paving the path for many of us who are in a pursuit to terraform human consciousness. And so what felt really good for me was like, get on social media and talk about, you know, COVID-19 and put a spiritual spin to my message. I called all of my family and friends and said, like, buckle up, guys, we're in for a ride. Go do the work. Don't let this time go to waste. This is the moment where we should be facing our demons, and this is the opportunity. And I will tell you that some, particularly those within the conscious community, really received my message lovingly. But of course, on the other side of it too, there were some people who openly admitted to me that they did not feel heard, seen, and felt by me and my message. And, you know, you guys know that there's a general rule of thumb in the conscious community that, like, you know, we shouldn't own other people's projections. People, you know, have the right to have their own opinions, and they have to be responsible for their own experiences. And so it's such an easy way to just deflect that. But I had to ask myself, and just had to have a heart-to-heart talk with myself. And did I have, you know, enough humility in me to explore my own motivations and intentions? What was the energy that I was bringing out into the world? You know, what was hidden underneath this fiery need to make a difference? And after many moments of introspection, there it was. I discovered that good old unhealthy emotional pattern of unworthiness. This time it was clothed in scarlet purple and disguised in hope for humanity. You know, on the outside, it looked like, you know, it looked noble and supportive, but on the inside, I was using my service as a way to feel validated, given the time that we're in. And there's beauty in that humanness. And, you know, I'm sure that many of you guys already know this, that you guys have this down, but I thought that, you know, I felt really compelled to create space for, you know, for this kind of tenderness and humility and humanness, you know, that it's true that our world or the universe is certainly building a stage for all of us to unlock our potential and spread our gift, absolutely. But it's also really important for us as light workers and as way showers and change makers to know and to be reminded that we are human too, with wounds. And those wounds deserve attention, and they deserve love, and they deserve healing. And honestly, you know, for me, it's so important for me to remember that, you know, I can only help heal the world from a healed place. Otherwise, you know, if I come from a wounded place and I end up wounding other people, I'm so mindful about that. And so for me, you know, the title of my talk is, you know, what is the title of my talk? Nee, remind me the title of my talk.
The title of your talk is shifting in,
shifting in,
showing
yes.
up and shining our light.
The title of my talk is Shifting In, Showing Up and Shining Our Light. And I actually presented this in that order for a particular reason. The importance of shifting in and, you know, really doing the work, the inner work, and, you know, with everything that we do, first and foremost, exploring our own intentions and motivations, because Gandhi said it right. You know, we have to first be the change that we aspire to bring into the world. Showing up, you know, from that place, you know, we get to show up. And yes, it's all about, you know, also shining our light and, you know, allowing our gifts to shine out there. But showing up can also mean sometimes taking a step back and focusing on our own wounds. You know, showing up can sometimes be like going completely radio silent and focusing on the parts of us that are fragmented. You know, that's still showing up. And I will tell you that, you know, that certainly I have spent much of quarantine showing up in that way, healing my own wounds. And that's okay. That's beautiful. That's perfect. Because in so doing, when we come from a healed place, then we can actually shine our light ever so brightly. And I just want to say that, you know, in a world where we are taught to just do, you know, oftentimes our light permeates ever so powerfully when we are simply being. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Anne. Can I just say what a blessing it is to live with this powerhouse of a woman, and like I get to experience her magic day in, day out. She's the first person I see when I wake up at 6 in the morning and the last person that I see before I go to bed. And honestly, she is one of the reasons why and how we are all here today, because every day she motivates me and inspires me so much, not by what she does or, you know, her titles or anything like that, but for her just being who she is, for showing up every day and, you know, being vulnerable and sharing her thoughts and her knowledge and her wisdom. And she continues to do this for everyone in her life. And I cannot wait for, you know, so many more people to experience her wonderful magic. So thank you, Anne, for being here, for supporting me in moderating, and for sharing your gift.
Thank you so much, Nee. And can we just all celebrate Nee? I mean, let's all unmute and let's just, woo! Yay! Nee, you did it.
Yay! We love you, Nee!
Talk about stepping up,
We love
you. What a blessing to have all of you here, you know, my closest friends, you know, familiar faces, and also, you know, new people. Like, honestly, if it wasn't for this crisis, we all wouldn't be here today. Like, honestly, like, people always talk about how crappy and shitty this is, but honestly, there is so much beauty and wisdom in it. Like, it is allowing us to, you know, go inward, do nothing, or explore our creativity, doing things like we've never thought we would do before. And it's just so amazing. And we're all able to sit in the comfort of our own beautiful homes and connect. Like, it's such a wonderful time. And this is only, you know, serving as a huge catalyst for, you know, where we're heading to now. You know, we're creating a whole new paradigm, raising the vibration of consciousness, and, you know, each and every one of you being here today is contributing to that, because you are showing up for yourself, and that way you are showing up for the whole collective, because you're willing to make time to be here, to do the work, to learn, and not sitting on, I don't know, Netflix or drinking or something. So I applaud each and every one of you for showing up. Thank you so, so much. And thank you to all my speakers. You guys are so, so, so magical in your own wonderful ways. I feel like that's the word that I keep saying, magic. And, you know, you guys are so divine. And I'm so blessed to have you all here to share your gift to the world. And I really, really hope, and I do believe that this conference is going to spread, you know, to so many people worldwide. I have no doubt about that. And, you know, this is really, really going to shape and shift humanity. Yeah, beyond anything that we can imagine. So thank you. And that's enough for me. I want to introduce Dr. Ayla again because she has an announcement to make. And also we're going to quickly go through the attendees just so they can introduce themselves for 1 minute. So that will give them an opportunity to share, you know, who they are, what they do, and perhaps they could also be a speaker at the next conferences. So I hope that we can hold space for them to do this. So Dr. Ayla, we'll start with you. Let's see. Oh, there she is.
Thank you very much, Nili. Today is actually, it's amazing batch. I almost cried. That's why I on off lots of time because Becca, your story is actually same to me. You know, I was I feel left out because my dad left, but I look for it in a lot of times through a lot of relationship that I built, and a lot of time also to success and the degrees I'm chasing, you know. And then one day I was so successful, and suddenly Bali have volcano, and I just realized that a lot of things are not in your control, and it's fine, you know. So then on the very deep down of, you know, I feel a little bit failure because I was a damn good consultant. You give me stone, I can sell for you. And I could not able to sell because of the volcano eruption. And it was actually, I didn't know there was actually the starting point of my life where I met this amazing woman from all around the world, and they give me space, you know, they give me amazing universe, you know, like a cocoon. I met a lady from Vietnam. Her name is Helen Hurong, and she completely changed my life. She was telling me story about woman empowerment, and at that time my mom was really, really sick for 9 months, and she said, don't do it for me, you know, you have to do it for all the women, because they rise. It's not, I differentiate men and women, but my woman empowerment is actually not only about the woman, but it's also the surrounding, you know. But herself is very important because you will deliver the next generation, you know, and the next generation will deliver the next generation. And virus corona has, this is the new world. We are creating it. It's up to us how we create the new world, you know. And you know, a lot of war, a lot of bullying, a lot of bad mouthing, a lot of rejection, it's come from within ourselves from the past. So I cannot change the world alone. It's not that I'm not capable. I'm capable of doing anything I want to do, but you know, if one person do that, probably if 10,000 people do that at the same time, then we're able to reach more soul and win the soul to have high consciousness and deliver better world, you know. We have 6 center, and I want everyone to join the 6 center. Please contact Millie, and we want to reach more people like this. My mom and my dad and this lady from Vietnam have touched my life in completely crazy manner where money, fame, or all of this is not very important anymore, you know. So you become fearless, and I want everybody to feel it, and that's why I give hosts, and I'm looking for all the hosts. I have not have New Zealand, America. I want to go all around the world, you know, and I want you to feel that love that is given to you just by hosting this. Your life is changing. I think that's all, you know. I don't want to cry. I'm very happy. I'm blessed, and I'm sending you a lot of love for all the light workers to the world. I love you and sending you love and light. And I think there's more attendees here that attend, and I want to introduce. I have, I think maybe this lady from Vietnam, Mrs.
Hi,
World,
Ayla.
are here. Oh
Yes.
my God, Helen. How you come? You're so busy. She's a self-conglomerate, but she came from family #1 in Vietnam, the niece of Prime Minister. But she's doing this for herself with fulfillment. That's why I follow her, you know, and that's why we have this. So, Helen, maybe you introduce yourself.
Hi, Ayla, and hi everyone. In Vietnam now is around 5 p.m. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm so happy. You know, I'm just finished one meeting Zoom to support for the woman startup, because you know is my passion is support for the woman, because in Vietnam long time ago, how do you say is in I'm born in the family in my any concern about the power empowerment, you know. So but when I grow up and I have a business in media company, so I see the woman, the people always think the woman beauty, they don't have a brain, and they always give the for me the two things. The first, they give for me the job very easy, because I think I cannot do the typical job, you know. It's a challenge of the thing, or just this woman just do for simple thing. And another chance they give to me is a very difficult job to challenge me. So I see the not how to say not fair for the woman, and I'm trying my best to become a successful woman, to share with the people that is the woman, the man is the same. So if we try our best, and if we hardworking, we need to have a respect from the people. So in 2013, when I'm joined the Women Forum, so I see if I can connect the women around the world to share experience together, so we can support each other, not only in Vietnam, we can support for different countries. And I create the Women Leader International Network to help connect the women in the leader, in the business, to connect together, and we support each other. And in 7 years, we support a lot of women to become confident to business network around the world. And then now in coronavirus, we cannot fly around the world. We cannot we connect by Zoom is great, right? So I can connect a woman in around the world to work together. And now my passion not only for the woman leader, I support for the woman startup, to help the woman can start up in the 100 USD. They can start up business in online. And now in Vietnam, only 2 months, I connect with the 1,000 women. And now they work very interesting. They happy in this business. And I have a passion to have 10 million women in Vietnam can start up with small money. No, not have a big, how to say, not risky to them, when they can just only start up in the very small money. In the online marketing and affiliate marketing. So I hope one day I can share this idea to all of you. And thank you, and welcome to Vietnam. when finish coronavirus. Thank you. I love you, Ayla.
Love you too.
Thank you so much, Helen.
Yes.
Thank
I
you
have
so much.
I have another one. I think Mr. Pancha Sarungu, are you here? He's my partner too. We have Nada Hospitality. So Nada Hospitality is different from any hotels in the world because we want to create experience. You know, we want to create frequency. We want to high up their frequencies in life. So when they have high frequency, they can manage anything. So are you here, Pancha? No.
No.
He's also
Pancha?
yeah. He's here.
No, he's not here. Maybe he'll pop back in a bit.
Okay, he
Yeah.
was here. He was also advising for our president, Republic of Indonesia, on the reopening of Indonesian tourism, and also the head of like 70,000 hotelier where I advised there. So amazing man. And I think I have Bupon Gurong. Are you here, Bupon? Yeah, Bupon is working with the EFG group. It's the biggest group in the world. Even Rothschild worked for them. They manage about 4,000 trillion. But it's not about that, about Bupon. Bupon is amazing man who wanted to rise woman leadership. And he's giving me his address in 14 Cleveland to be the address for the woman. So it's in the back of Buckingham Palace where Prince Charles and Queen Elizabeth live. And he's donated about $130 million for this World Women Leading Change, you know, so we can spread the news. Are you here, Bupon? Bupon?
Hello. Let me look.
Bupon?
No.
Are you here? He's not here.
Bupon?
Okay.
No. No.
No, he's in London. So I mean, it is when you are sending your vibration, you will meet amazing woman, amazing people in your life. So you don't have to be worried. You know, keep pouring that vibration. So okay, that's from me then. Thank you very much, Nili. I don't think I have another attendance on my side.
Okay, I'll just quickly introduce the other attendees then. So I'll start with the first person on my screen and I'll work across. So you just have 1 minute just to introduce yourself and what you do. And okay, I'll start with Travis Greenall, my dear friend. Travis, do you want to unmute yourself?
Hello. Hi, everyone. I'm Travis. I live in Melbourne and I have been blessed to know quite a few of these spaces and come across them. And yeah, I mean, in Melbourne, I run my family's business, transport business, and I've taken on roles in coaching and about to start another role in coaching, and with all the anticipation and I guess nerves coming up again, yeah, just been connecting to what I really want to bring to this world and how I want to contribute. So yeah, in saying that, I don't know, I'm just really blessed to be here with you all and just hearing from such inspirational people and people who really want to make a difference. And I truly know that from my heart deep down. So yeah, I'll keep it short and sweet, but thank you all.
Thank you, Travis. Thank you. Okay, next we have Tao Lee. Tao.
Hey guys, so Nee, thank you so much for running the session. I really enjoyed it. So I'm Tao and I'm from Melbourne. And I guess I really liked a lot of the speakers today because I personally have been trying to find who I am, and like a lot of the talk has kind of resonated with me through my journey. Because like personally, I joined the military quite young, and so I felt like you know, I really struggled to kind of define, and it's only now that I've really tried to discover who I am and ask those really deep questions of kind of like what Beck mentioned of kind of questions to find yourself. So at the moment, I actually am a qualified personal trainer. I also work at a travel company that sends kids on like personal development trips and things like that. But most excitingly, I've kind of used this time, like Anne has mentioned, to start a YouTube channel and just kind of have that courage and have the bravery to show myself and show who I truly am, and I guess back myself in for that. So thank you guys so much for inspiring me to believe in myself.
Thank you, Tal. Her YouTube videos are hilarious, by the way. So I feel like, Tal, you should drop your YouTube channel down in the chat and let everyone have a little sneak peek into your life. And here you are. Okay, so the next person I have is my dear cousin, Trung, who is also the brother of Tal. Someone very, very special in my life, and he's been the biggest support in everything that I'm able to do up until this moment. And he's always been like a huge pillar in my life, always grounding me and supporting me and loving me. So thank you. Welcome, Trung.
Hello, hello, hello. I can hear an echo because my sister's like right next to me.
Oh, sorry.
Just give me 2 seconds. I'll introduce myself. My name's Chungles, and I've had the privilege to know Nee for a very long time, and she's a dear, beautiful, beautiful cousin of mine. And just observing myself now, I'm just so full. I'm so happy just to be here and to be in this space where everyone's just sharing from the heart, sharing wisdom, and even observing myself. I feel inspired. I feel calm. I don't feel like I need to compete. I just, all these reminders, and that's the journey that I'm on, but observing myself and being safe in this container and learning so much and being inspired. So thank you. Thank you, and keep shining, cuz, and I'm always here. Thank
you for showing up. Thank you. Okay, next we have Bin, which is Jenny's partner with the puppy. Bin, do you want to say something? I can see you.
Hey guys, hello. Just such a joy to be with you beautiful souls today. Spending it's Saturday evening in Melbourne, but I think like it's afternoon in Bali, and I think in America it would be, I'm not sure what time is it, but yeah, it's just beautiful to just band together, during this time where we are physically separated, but in spirit we are together, and it's just so inspirational listening to the stories, and just having wonderful takeaways today. So I see you guys, I appreciate you guys, and wish you all the best in your journeys. Thanks.
Thank you, Bin.
Pleasure.
So next we have Sylvian. I'm not sure if I said that right. Sylvian.
Hi everyone. First of all, I'm probably in the older generation here in this panel, but thanks Harold for inviting me. I am absolutely impressed by the young generation. Oh my God, you are so much more sophisticated than we were at your age, and your intentions and your work towards changing humanity. I'm just in awe of all of you teaming up like this to do such a beautiful work. Very inspirational talks by many of you. And my own experience, well, it's a little bit of a longer life than yours, probably. Yes, indeed, suffering and pain is at the root of many of our transformation and the root of our growth. My own suffering and pain has driven me to now, I've moved to Bali, by the way. 2 years ago, I closed the clinic that I had in Australia, in Sydney. I'm French, but I moved a lot. And in my work as a yoga teacher for 30 years, I specialize in chronic pain. And now I help people, and I'm in Bali to actually develop a course. My company is called C'est la vie, which means that I looked at processing emotional trauma and stress through the biomechanics of the body. And in doing this, we need to always go back to, or I always go back and invite my patients to go back to the question of how would life would see that, and the point of view of life itself in its evolution in consciousness and in forms. So everything that I do is very much about changing the way that we approach health, and changing the way that we look at pain and suffering, and really use it as a tool for empowerment. And the way I do that is through the body, because this is our direct access to our emotions and our direct access to healing through its wisdom. So I won't be too long, but thank you everybody for the opportunity to listen to your stories.
Thank you so much, Sylvian. Okay, and next we have Bhupendra Guru. I believe that's Dr. Ayla's associate. Hello, do you want to unmute yourself, please? Great, thank you.
Okay, Ayla called me Bhupen, but actual name is Bhupen, and my short name is BP. So everybody can pronounce very easily. Very complicated name. And I heard all the very touch my heart stories. There are 7.7 billion people, and there are 7.7 stories. How many days, years to listen is very challenging. But I'm always curiosity. Every problem has a solution to solve this problem. The entire world is now Corona problem, but that can be solved if we all become united. So I have always communication is a issue now. So I come up today one idea. What do you think? All the speakers, all the listeners, if you suggest me the decision foundation, the whole world need a decision now. Story too long to say, but solution we need a decision. Maybe this today's team can decide, can make a decision. If we come up one idea, decision foundation, maybe that decision foundation can solve this entire old problem. That is my opinion. If you suggest me, maybe we can come up this one idea today. The decision foundation, part of the WWLC, this can solve the entire cosmos problem. There are other viruses on the way. I heard it. Kawasaki, Harka, so many new viruses are coming up. So we need a decision, we need a solution. Maybe today we can come up with a solution. And other thing, Dr. Ayla suggests I'm trying to donate my ideas, my vision, but I'm trying to suggest her since yesterday I couldn't convince. The hardest problem this all is whatever I have vision, to give that vision to others is very difficult to understand, very difficult to accept, because there are the gap between the understanding, communications. So my life, the hardest part is to communicate each other. If you communicate very easily and short and make a decision, this will be a very better place. I think I'm talking a lot. That's all. If you have any suggestion for regarding that, what do you call, small contribution myself, might be a good idea. I try my best since last yesterday to convince Dr. Ayla, but I couldn't communicate. Maybe I'm very weak to communicate with others. Hopefully, this team can come up with new ideas. How can we take that vision, that amount, or that small contribution that might change the entire the process system. I think that's all now.
Thank you, BP.
Okay, last thing, I do speak my tribe's language very fluently. Then I can speak Nepali good. I can speak Hindi little bit good, Chinese little bit, Malaya little bit, but English is my biggest weakness. So I can communicate little by little. I thought I have lots of grammatical error there, but at least I communicated.
You did wonderful,
Thank you.
BP. You did wonderful. Your English is amazing.
Thank you.
It's a skill, right? Just continue to learn. I'm sure we all had to go through that. Yes. Okay, so the next person would be Joseph McGrath.
Hello. Hi, everyone. I love this little mixture of modern and ancient technology that I have to use for my microphone.
Funny.
Yep, it gets a lot of laughs in the Skype calls, but I'd just like to say thank you, everyone, for sharing. It's been a lovely evening. I don't know anyone here except Andrew. I attended a breathwork session with Andrew a couple of months ago. And it was sort of the icing on the cake of a bunch of deeply transformative experiences that I've been going through, and it was incredible to be in his presence, as I'm sure everyone here appreciated and got his energy through the Zoom chat. But I personally grew up mostly in Southeast Asia, and when I got to Australia for university, I was challenged with a bunch of, I guess, conceptions of masculinity. And from my upbringing in Asia, I think a lot of the values about community and compassion stayed with me, and then they were kind of being, challenged, I would say. So I naturally was lucky to find yoga and have been practicing in that since, and hopefully with a lot of the inspiration that I gathered here today, we'll continue on the journey to hopefully sharing that with as many people as I can, specifically hopefully young Australian men, because I think there's a lot of misguided young men out there, and a bit of yoga could help them a lot. to discover their own inner powers and who they really are. So thank you, yeah, everyone for sharing, especially to Amit. Your guided meditation was very strong. Thank you, everyone.
Joe. I will post his Instagram handle down there so you can check out his classes. He's really amazing. So yeah, and also can I ask you where you got your telephone from?
This was a Christmas present. This is a Christmas present from Singapore, actually.
Oh, okay. I'm very close to Singapore. Hopefully I could get one over.
I'm sure you'll find one.
That's amazing. Okay, so the next person is, her name is under movement, but you can unmute yourself. I think she's Jess's friend.
Hi, everyone. Well, my name is Emma. I met Jess like a few years ago in a Kuala Lumpur workshop that I did, a dance workshop. Well, I think I invited myself alone into the meeting. Well, I'm very, very happy that I could hear all of your stories. You put words in things I had inside that couldn't, be there. I'm from Spain. I'm currently living in France. I'm a dancer. I work in a dance company here. And well, yeah, I'm in a healing process right now. And I'm very grateful that I could listen to all of you. You were so inspiring. And I hope one day I can inspire people like that too. Yeah.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for being here and showing up for yourself. And you're inspiring me by showing up and inviting yourself. Like that's amazing. Like how many people do that? Right. So,
I didn't even know. Like wow, amazing.
And this was the whole point of it, just to spread the word, and whoever wants to join, feels called to join, can join, and hoping that they could learn something or many things from it. This is the whole purpose of it. So feeling really grateful that you were able to, learn a lot from this experience. And you're very welcome to join in many conferences to come and from many,
I will be here for sure.
Yeah, so thank you.
Thank you so much from the heart.
I think this is it. We've gone through all the speakers, and thank you so much. I want to wrap things up. Thank you so much to everyone for being here. Feeling so, so grateful and appreciative to you all for, creating this really wonderful and safe container for everyone to share their wisdom and knowledge. And like I said, I hope and wish that this would spread to many, many people around the world so everyone can experience your gift. Thank you, and so, so much love to each and every one of you. Continue to shine bright. Beautiful people. Keep moving forward. That's it.
We have next conference on Monday. If anyone wants to join, or it's live from Malaysia, and then the next one is live from Philippines on Thursday, 21st. See you all. Bye bye.
You guys are amazing.
Bye everyone.
Bye.
Have a good night.
Bye. Good night. Love you all. Bye.
Sending you love.
Sending you love.
Bye. Bye from Melbourne.
Bye. Wow.
Neely, it's amazing. I'm so proud of you, and I love you so much.
I know.
You have put amazing people. You make me cry. I am very de-emotional.
Yeah,
I'm very logic.
I knew that was why. I was like, she's turning on and off her video, and I could
I'm
feel,
a very demotional. Like if I
Yeah.
have a, nothing can attract my emotion actually. But it was just amazing session today.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And that was, I feel like that was the whole purpose of this, because I thought, like, what kind of people can I bring? And I realized, I'm surrounded by so many light workers because I am one myself. And I was, like I said, like all these people came to me during a meditation, and I knew that it was being presented for a reason. And I'm very blessed to be surrounded by many, many incredible people. That's a vibration that I give off, so that's a vibration that I attract, right? And I had this deep feeling, like I was so excited for today, because I was like, this is going to be so amazing, so touching, so deep, and so inspiring and so motivating. And this was exactly what was being delivered. So I'm so grateful. Like,
I'm very proud of you. You are amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Keep
Thank you so
doing
much.
amazing stuff.
Thank
Keep
you
doing
so much.
amazing stuff.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity and for trusting in me.
Yes, I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I'm grateful
Yeah.
too. Bye bye, sayang. Bye bye. I'll see
Thank
you soon.
you. Thank you. See you.